What's up, fanboys and fangirls? Welcome back to another episode of TV Talk. We are What the Fanboy. My name's Luke. This is Mr. Tyler.
This is the beautiful Brett.
Hey.
And we're here to talk about The Witcher, Netflix's greatest show since... What was the one that came before it?
A lot of shows.
Okay. Well, I tried.
You did.
I thought of a random joke and it did not work. Sorry.
We wouldn't have you any other way.
I try my best.
Crash and burn.
Yes, we're here to review The Witcher. Full spoilers. So, what do you guys think of The Witcher? Would you toss a coin to him or no?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
Or the writers.
Oh my gosh. Like, you had seen, Luke, you had seen it before we...
I watched it the weekend after it came out. Yeah.
And I watched like the first two episodes and was just like, I don't know. And you're like, it gets better. And I was like, are you sure?
It gets better.
It gets better. It doesn't get good. That's the problem.
Get good. I picture you spelling that with a G-U-D.
Good.
Good.
How do you spell get?
G-I-T.
Awesome.
Guy, get
Get
good.
good.
Get good.
No, like...
Unlike The Witcher.
Like what Tyler said, like the writing in this show is just so bad, and the only redeemable part are the performance, like the performance of the two adult mains, like Henry Cavill and
Anya
Charlotta, like they do a lot with a little, but I don't think it does anything to save the show.
So when I originally wrote a review of it, you can read it at whatthefanboy.com if you want to. I said they were the two things that kept me watching, mainly because episodes would end on cliffhanger points that'd be like, okay, I guess I'm kind of interested to see what they do about this.
Yeah.
And that I felt like their performances, it doesn't save the show. They're the only really driving factor. I felt like they were trying so hard.
Yeah. I would agree.
And I kind of felt like I had to watch it for them.
Want to support them.
Man, they're working so, or man, they're out there on the football field just working so hard, but they're just getting torched by the receiver.
Yeah.
There's just nothing you can do about it.
The coach is drawing up terrible plays. They're going out. They're doing their best, but
Here's what I think happened with the writing, and this is just me speculating. I think they went for the branching, the three narratives that would eventually meet thing, which is good if executed correctly.
Oh, yeah.
Poorly executed. I think they had a plan. I think they went to start filming and they completely abandoned that plan.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like. Like, we have a plan. This is our story. This is how we're going to shoot it. They started shooting it and they're like, but what if we do this? And what if we do that? And we can change this here. And then eventually I think they lost their way.
Mm-hmm.
And what it turns out to be is kind of a jumbled mess.
I think it's like episode... Honestly, I don't know, but where you kind of start to realize this isn't in chronological order. Mm-hmm. And it just... No, before that.
Oh.
It's
like
episode 4 of the banquet where you have a sense of when everything takes place and you're just like, okay. But I think it's episode maybe 2 when you start hanging out with Yennefer a lot more. And you're just like, what? It's just so confusing.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're all competent enough to understand non-linear storytelling. We've all seen Dunkirk. Yeah. That is the best comparison for the show.
Yep.
Timeline-wise.
I literally was telling somebody at work that.
Yeah.
I was like, this is Dunkirk, but horribly done.
Dunkirk, but fantasy and done like crap.
This is so. It was so weird to me.
It's Dunkirk if instead of Christopher Nolan, you had Hugh Ball or something directing. You haven't even heard of him. He's bad.
I was gonna say Akiva Goldsman.
Yeah, something like that.
So what was weird to me with the timeline thing is Geralt meets Yennefer. Geralt likes Yennefer. The next time we see her and him together, she's with someone else. He is evidently in love with her. Then, in the same episode, they're in love. Then she hates him. Then the next time they see each other, they're completely distant from each other and they're just kind of friends. And I was like, what? what is happening? Like, I at that point I had figured out that this wasn't linear, but I was like, how does anybody enjoy this? Like, there's no budding relationship between characters because none of it takes place linearly. Linearly. That's a hard word.
It's a big word.
It's a big word.
For sure.
Good job.
Late night on a Thursday, week's closing. But yeah, I was not a fan of what they tried to do from a writing standpoint.
Yeah.
It was not for me.
It's extremely confusing. It's convoluted, and it's badly done. It's just, to put it simply, it's an absolute mess.
Yes.
It feels like it's trying to be clever. Way more clever than it needs to be. It's like they hopped into Game of Thrones season 5 and were like, "Hey, we got all these people in all the different places around the world, and they all have their own little narratives. We're gonna do that, but just with time because we don't have that big of a. I mean, they have that big of a continent, or it's a big continent, but that's the other thing. I had no idea where anything was, which like
they mention a lot of places.
They mention a lot, but there's no like. I think there's a map in like 2 episodes, and it's just in the scene.
I'm pretty sure they say Niflgaard is in the north.
Nilfgaard.
But it's in the south.
It is?
Yeah.
Man.
See, if that's the case.
Like, yeah, it's really messed up.
Near the end, I do think when they're like actually talking about the invasion, I think they talk about them coming from the south.
Okay.
But again, I don't know how far south. I had to go to the internet and look up a map to find out where everything was at.
Oh, I didn't even do that. I was just like, okay, I finished.
Man, I would not have gotten through this series if I hadn't gone and looked up the timeline and the map, because it just was too
much.
3 weeks, and the show had been out for 3 weeks, and they tweeted out a timeline.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign.
No. Also, what is weird, again, we're going to stick on this writing thing. This is a large con. Episode 1, 7, and 8 all take place at the same time. And that bothered me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, why are we here? Why are we back here again? And then 8 is different beast altogether, but
8 is a cluster.
I think
I fell asleep.
I think it just
Me too.
I didn't. But
I had a Stephanie woke me up.
Dana woke me up.
Are you asleep over there?
Dana was like cooking dinner, and she's like, "Hey."
I wonder.
I felt like that Teresa Witch or whoever who, not the Witcher.
Her boss lady?
Yeah, the boss
witch?
who was just like, I'm in the field. I'm gonna take a nap.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. They didn't write my scene. I'm just gonna chill out.
Yeah.
I feel like they wrote the show like they're like, oh, what's it out of the book? They wrote it and they're like, oh, this is a lot to cover. Let's do the timeline thing. And then that's where it gets all messy. And then, I mean, yeah, episodes 1, 7, and 8 all taking place at the same time.
It's just a mess.
It's a mess. It's confusing. It's and then it's just badly written, like dialogue wise.
Yeah.
Which is what most people think when they think of writing. Something like I would say.
But it's Henry Cavill, like gravelly voice.
doing everything he can to keep this show afloat.
It's mainly him going,
Yeah.
Or yelling the F word.
I do think he did a good job with his with what he was given and just his character in general. I think he's
with how he's supposed to be emotionless,
written, but well acted.
Mm-hmm.
He does kind of gruff. I don't think he's all that interesting of a character, but when he does do things, that's when he gets interesting.
Yeah.
When he decides to get into a fight, he's fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
What, twice?
Honestly, I enjoyed like kind of how he always kind of stood by his convictions of, you know what,
doesn't flip-flop.
like
this is who I am.
Everybody's good and bad, like, and then like the episode 4 or 5, the banquet episode, where Hedgehog Boy shows up, and Queen Grandma's like, kill this monster. He's like, this dude ain't a monster. He's cursed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not killing him.
It's a human.
He is the expert on monsters.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't feel like
we saw 3.
We don't get to
4.
see very many interesting monsters.
Yeah.
The interesting one from the trailer is the opening scene of the show.
So dumb.
I think
I was interested, and then and then immediately after that I wasn't.
Yeah.
And I kept waiting for like, okay, when's the next cool monster gonna come? And it never did. Everything's like, I'm clearly an actor in a human in like a suit, and then like intercut with like, CGI. Like
I do think the coolest monster scene is the
Striga.
Striga in the castle.
That was honestly, it was probably my favorite episode.
It was really cool.
I think story-wise it gets better as you go, but I really enjoyed the comparison. This is ironic because we hate the timeline stuff, but you have Yennefer doing her transformation at the same time as Geralt fighting the Striga. And they kind of were doing similar things.
Going through the similar problems.
yeah. I think just the problem was I didn't know why I needed to care about it's made through editing. It's made very clear that I'm supposed to know why these two are intercutting.
Yeah.
And I don't.
And it's because of Geralt's wish that, even though I don't even know if we ever found out, but they're always going to be connected.
Yeah.
Is some close to what their wish is, and that it's kind of alluded to in that episode. Fortunately, you haven't met the Jinn or done the wish yet, so okay.
Right. It's almost like they shot it and they were like, all right, yeah, it's good to go. And then it came out and it was out of order.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh.
Oh, no.
But also the reason
stick with
I
it.
like that Striga fight is because it's Geralt not trying to kill a monster.
Yeah.
It's him trying to keep a monster in a room until dawn and then hide in its casket. I thought that was really cool.
That was very clever.
It wasn't just, oh, I gotta go chop the head off of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And she
And
later,
we're done. Like-
that Striga becomes one of the mages at the, right?
I think she's the king's daughter.
She's the king's daughter. Doesn't the king's daughter have magic abilities that shows up later, or am I mistaken?
I think it's a different daughter.
Yeah.
Okay.
King goes to send soldiers to final battle because he like trusts Geralt or something.
Okay.
Or he's like, oh, you helped my sister that I did bad things
Despite
to.
just finishing this, clearly I need to go read the Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
Or don't.
Yeah, just make it up in your mind. That's what they did.
It's
so
fine.
So I think it's clear that our number one con is writing.
yes.
Yeah.
Other cons.
The last episode.
Ugh.
Yeah, the finale is really weak.
You guys.
The penultimate's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think Seven's it does a decent job of like setting
Weird. It's the shortest episode.
and it does a good job of setting the stakes. It sets up stakes. This show doesn't have stakes except for in that episode, and then it just throws them all away in the last episode.
Yeah.
I think it's so stupid when your main character, your title character,
Is not the main
gets
character.
bitten by a little skelly boy.
A ghoul.
Yeah, and is out the entire episode.
But he's been thrown across the continent 40 times up into this point. He gets bit and he's like, it's a little bit of poison. I can't join the final fight. I'm just going to chill here on the back of this cart. Yeah.
Took a no to the knee.
Yeah, he Peter Griffined it. It was frustrating. It was really upsetting. Like, I was looking forward to, I was like, okay, finale time. Geralt's going to go full on Witcher. He's going to cut heads off. He's going to use his signs, which they don't do enough of that either.
They don't.
I was
Episode
like, man, this is going to be
one?
so dope. Episode 1, and they use it again in episode 6. 6 or 7. He uses it to go through the floor.
Yeah.
That's the Striga episode. He goes through the floor. with
3.
it,
3.
and then I think he uses it one other time. The banquet.
Does he push? He pushes someone away, maybe. I don't remember.
I think he uses it to push away. He uses it like 5 or 6 times.
Anyways, here's the problem. He uses it, but there's no context for
He
it,
only uses one of the signs too, which is stupid.
and so we don't completely.
He hasn't
understand.
unlocked them yet. Needs to get more XP.
You start with like 3 of them in the game.
But like, there's no
It's a prequel.
other than the vial thing.
Yeah.
Oh, the
which
potions?
Yeah. Sure.
There's no real like.
You don't understand what he's doing.
Right, he's doing. I think it's just he's doing some kind of magic, and if you're a secondary character, I think it's okay to kind of keep that mysterious. But when it's your protagonist, I don't think you can.
There's just lots of stuff I feel like they throw so much lingo at you in this show. like, I don't even remember who it was because I watched it so long ago, but they're like, oh, the orbs of conjoinment or whatever. And it sounds like they're talking about religion.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, are they talking about this world's creation?
I think so. There was on the timeline. There is a thing. I think it's called the conjunction.
Yeah, something.
Best I can tell, it's a little bit like, you remember in Thor 2. There's like
I try not to remember that movie.
Everything, like all of the worlds line up. It's kind of like that, I think, where like all these different. I don't
Things
know if
happen.
it's like a multiverse or realities or whatever. Because in the game,
It's realms. I guarantee it's realms.
Okay, so the realms, like they do like conjoin, and then that's when like crazy stuff happens.
Crisis on Infinite Earths happens.
Flash is showing up.
Yeah.
So that's kind of their like basis for like the start of their like timeline.
Yeah,
Like,
and then
that was like the beginning.
and then they like they just randomly explain other things like, oh, there was an eclipse and we killed all these girls.
They also mentioned the Wild Hunt.
Yeah,
Even
I
was
recognize
like-
that. I was like, what?
What are we doing?
Like, well, the Wild Hunt's in 3 hours, but timeline wise, that's gonna be
3 seasons
ago.
The Wild Hunt is a group of people who hunt witchers. I'm 90% sure that's what they are. So I was like, you mentioned the Wild Hunt, but what are we actually doing? Nobody's hunting him.
the Wild Hunt
Except
is
for Siri. And she's not part of that. She's got something else going on. She wears contact lenses too.
And yeah, with Siri, like another thing, they're like, oh, it's the law of surprise or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
F the law of surprise.
Whoever created that
Good
is a
Lord.
moron, and like
Frickin'.
it made it sound like
I didn't understand it. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys.
when Hedgehog Boy used it, it was like, oh, I get to marry her.
Like, what dictates that?
Yeah, and then Geralt's just like, oh, give me law of surprise. It's like, what? Like, you're just gonna throw that out like it's nothing? That sounds like a big deal. And then so, like, is Siri supposed to be his daughter? Because that's
Right.
the vibe I'm getting, or is it supposed to be something a little weirder because it's fantasy, and I know what they like to do in fantasy
I
stuff.
think it's more of
Whatever you want it.
not a scribe, like someone who helps a knight.
A squire?
A squire, like more like a squire type position.
I was thinking like nighttime. Night.
Although he seems to certainly hold the position more of like a father figure as he sees himself to Siri.
And I think, kind of going forward wise, I think that's going to be what it is going forward because Yennefer's storyline is she wants a kid. She wants to have a baby. So, I mean, I haven't read the books or played the video game, so I don't know if they're going to like adopt little Siri or something. But
They mentioned Vesemir at the end, and I think she trains with witchers. I don't know if she becomes one or not, but she trains with them. Her hair becomes white, so I assume she gets turned into a witcher, but I don't know.
No one.
She's
knows
really
anything.
cool in the freaking game, though. I was really excited that she was going to be in the show.
in the show,
Well, maybe
she's just
in
like
season 2 they'll give her more to do than just run.
through the
So,
woods.
my second con, I thought the show was boring.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to elaborate on that because I don't need to. I thought it was boring. It didn't.
There's an episode where they go to hunt a dragon, and all they do is walk up a mountain.
Yup. And then you find out somebody else is a dragon.
Yeah, apparently the dragon can shape. Stephanie called that, by the way.
She said that he was going to be a dragon.
She was like, as soon as he
gold
mentioned
conversation.
the gold dragon, she's like, his armor looks like gold scales. I bet he's a dragon.
Oh. I fell asleep during that episode too for like 10 minutes. I was like, oh well, whatever. Dragon looks kind of cool, I guess. He talks.
Talks
Smaug.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
And then little gold baby dragon showed up like in a dream or something to him. Man, this show was whack.
it's weird.
So I want to piggyback off of Tyler's point real quick. Like, and I agree that the show is boring, and it's not because there aren't interesting things that happen, but the problem is none of the characters actually make interesting choices. This is something I will continue to preach until the day I die. The most interesting stories happen when characters make interesting decisions. And these characters don't make decisions. And things aren't really explained why they're going. It's just kind of like, oh, it's the next episode, so we're going this way. Or, it's all yada yada until like the most interesting parts I think are when Yennefer makes the decision to become a mage. Like when she's like
When she's like, make me pretty.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like and then that's cross cut with the Skellig fight.
Yeah.
So that was pretty well done.
I kind of also I don't know if I don't think you liked Yennefer's stuff as much as like I did.
I loved it. She was the only character I found interesting by the end of the show.
Okay,
But
but
she's
like
the one who makes the most choices.
well, I think she's the only person who makes
Yeah.
choices. But like she makes a huge decision, and I thought it was interesting that she's like, this sucks.
Yeah.
I hate that I made this choice, and I'm going to do whatever I can to kind of reverse it because, I'm living as long as I can. I'm really pretty, but all I do is hurt people.
Yeah.
Like, and then like when she tries to get the baby away from this terrible mother, and then the baby ends up dying. She's like, I can't even create something like this.
Right.
I don't have the power to create life. All I can do is control chaos to morph chaos into destruction. And then how she's like searching for the Jinn so she can use the wishes and all that. Like, I really did enjoy her story
I think there's
for
a
what
ton of potential.
what they tried, I guess.
She's got again, I think she's got good bullet points.
I feel like I had to read between the lines a
Yeah.
lot and kind of make it up myself. But what I did for myself, I enjoyed. So
The show asks you to do that a lot.
yeah,
Something I did like though, I liked where they were going initially, but they kind of abandoned it. Is they're trying to, I think the theme they were going for is destiny, and they start there and they're like, Geralt doesn't believe in it, and I'm like, okay, cool. So by the end, he will. You're gonna see that transformation, and they kind of lose sight of that, like everything else they did in the show. But like, I thought that was an interesting take, like a character who really has like no emotional pull to anything, doesn't really believe in destiny, like he just kind of goes. And by the end, I was like, oh yeah, like maybe he'll get it, but he never does.
I thought it was interesting how they all talk about destiny like it's a person.
Yeah.
Like you can't like
You don't-
destiny
you
is
don't
like
test destiny.
like
yeah.
destiny isn't just like, oh, it's fate. Like, this is your destiny. Like destiny is like a god
Right.
almost in this world, I feel like. And it's like, no, destiny has a plan for you and you can't do anything about it. And if you're trying to avoid it, that's maybe where trouble kind of starts to run in. And
That's
it's
when
always going
people
to
start
find you.
dying.
And yeah.
Yeah. I also think
Or
they
you explode into a giant ball of wind in the middle of a room.
I think that one of the hiccups for me was how much they tried to introduce so fast.
Yeah.
Apparently there's elves. Yennefer's
They played Looksy a
part
lot.
elf.
Like, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this,
Yeah.
look at this.
But not the entirety. Part of episode 2 is Geralt, like, as a prisoner of them.
I forgot that even happened.
Yeah, no, like,
He gets hit in the face with a rock and he gets taken prisoner. Gosh.
and then there's the wood people who
The wood people, yeah.
who Ciri's with, but like,
But then, I mean, also Yennefer, we learned from her kind of lover in the beginning how we learn about the history of the elves. Kind of sinks that it's told to us
Rather than shown.
rather than shown, but I mean, it's quick.
and that's not I like offhanded mentions. I don't think are
Yeah.
bad. It's the when I dedicate a third of an episode to my character is going to be in this location with these people, but they don't have any further impact on the story or even really on them because I don't know. Like it feels like filler when they needed to be more. There didn't at 8 episodes there shouldn't be any filler. This certainly didn't need more, but I think what it needed to do was cut out those little things that were filler and fill it in with more interesting character-driven moments.
More moments of substance.
Substance.
I agree.
My last con is the Bard.
Yeah, Bard sucks. Never
Here's
bring him into the show again.
Okay, so here's my issue with the Bard. The Bard feels like a character from 2009,
Oh yeah.
but it's the medieval times. I'm not even going to pretend to know what year it is. but he says things that you would we would joke about.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is weird. Like the show, and he to me is kind of like the tone of the show. Like he is
Everywhere.
Yeah, he's all over the
bard.
map.
The bard is the Instagram influencer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gross.
Absolutely.
He really is though.
But like, and part of with the bard too, and I kind of mentioned tone. Like, it starts off and you're like, okay, this is really serious, and then the bard gets introduced, and you're like, okay, it's kind of goofy, and then it goes like full on comedy for a little bit. Even Gerald jumps in on that, and then it gets back to like we're really serious, and this is dark and grim, and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, again, it goes back to writing. Everything stems from the writing of this show.
Yes.
It's bad. Sorry. Bard pissed me off.
Yeah, I hated the Bard. I was so glad when he left.
I like the episode when he couldn't talk.
I think you have to. I don't like the bard either. That said, the Witcher Gerald is not an interesting character by himself. So
yes, but he's not by himself anymore moving into season 2.
Correct. No, you're right.
Which is why it's okay to just throw him out and get rid of him.
No, and I agree. I'm just saying, like, I thought he worked all right, like, the first couple of times he showed up. And then, yeah, he got very old very fast.
He became too important to the show.
Yeah.
Can we do pros? Can we say good things?
I'm sure.
I felt like I kind of talked about mine kind of throughout. Like, mine was Yennefer Geralt, and then if there is action happening, I felt like it was good. But the one I want to...
just take all of yours?
No, I got one more.
Okay, good.
The one... So, maybe actually my favorite character in the show was Renfrey. Killed first episode.
Yeah.
I was like, she shows up, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a cool character to see how this develops with this Stregobor stuff, with this eclipse and all these princesses dying or whatever.
Nope.
Killed. Over.
Not even mentioned.
Also, I don't even really remember when it takes place, but it's in episode 1.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what? Like, man, she was cool, and she was really good, too, I thought. But, nope, she gone.
Stregobor
So it was a pro, but a
interesting then.
con. Yeah.
He was interesting there for a moment. I thought episode 1 was fine.
Yeah.
And then it just falls apart. My other pro was costume and set design.
I thought, yeah.
I think a lot of like the sets they used looked really good.
Yeah. There's a couple times, especially when... So anytime your fantasy setting takes you to kind of like where they were in episode 3 or where they were with the dragon, where it's just kind of rocky it's rocky and kind of mountainous, and it just loses some of that magic. It just feels like you went off into the
mountains.
But it just felt so restrained.
You went off to the road next to I-11 or something?
Yeah, right? It's like, there's this cool rock formation down there. We'll go shoot around that.
Semi goes by.
But like, I think what it needed was just to let the camera go back. Give me some epic fantasy.
Yeah.
Sweeping shots.
Yeah. Maybe
Show us the battlefield.
Lord of the Rings has just spoiled me, but like, I think that's just kind of a staple of fantasy, and when you don't do that, it just feels you can feel that budget.
That's true, and I didn't notice it when I was watching it, but I never feel like anything is bigger than the room they're in. Nope. That's a good point. I didn't think about
the rooms
that when I was watching
it. The rooms look good.
Yeah. No. But like, there doesn't. They talk about all these different places, and like you mentioned, we don't know where they are. But like the room, you never feel like anything is happening outside of where they are.
Yeah.
Like Geralt is here, and anything that is going on there, it's only that. Like the rest of the world feels empty. To me, they mention a lot, but we don't see it. And you kind of mentioned that too.
One of the greatest things, and I understand why they didn't do this, but one of the greatest things Game of Thrones did was its intro sequence. It changed week to week based what was going on. It showed us the world. It showed us what was happening.
It showed us a map.
And so you could, even though like in season 1, we're in Winterfell. We get to see Winterfell. We know where Winterfell is. In episode, I don't know, 3, maybe whenever they get down to King's Landing, it's like, okay, I understand where that is in relation. I understand that it's a completely different setting. I just don't get that because they're jumping between different locations every episode and different timelines within each episode. And so there's no continuity for you to actually get a grasp on where anything is at.
I feel like the only place I could fully understand whenever I was somewhere was when we were in wherever Siri was from.
Centra?
Yeah. Just because, like, it's a different kingdom.
Yeah.
Whereas other places are like, here's another rundown town.
Yeah.
Yeah. That all look the same.
Here's another broken castle.
No.
Here's another bush.
It sucks that, our review is strikingly negative.
Actually, I didn't hate the show. I think probably out of us 3, I might have enjoyed it the most.
You definitely enjoyed it more than
You definitely enjoy it more than me.
Yeah, I gave it a Matthew McConaughey on the negative side of mainly because I don't know who this is for. Some people will probably enjoy it. I know people that have been like, hey, like I didn't think it was that bad. Like I liked it.
I think from what I've heard, this is more for the casual, someone who casually enjoys fantasy.
I don't know, because that would be me.
No.
Like, I like fantasy, don't get me wrong, but, like, I can't read fantasy books.
Yeah.
I just can't. I don't know what it is. I can't finish them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
Maybe this show is for people who like.
I think this show has merit for people who like the short stories of The Witcher, because I think that's what this show is. I think there's a book in the Witcher series that is all short stories, and that's what this feels like.
Yeah.
And so I think maybe that was their goal.
Maybe.
What's your rating?
It's a straight to streaming. And that's not a high straight to streaming like Luke.
Ty's about to give a big old DF.
And that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. I was almost there. Almost there.
It's a dumpster fire.
There you
for
go.
me. I feel bad giving it. Like, here's the thing. Like, just because it's a dumpster fire for me doesn't mean it can't be a booyah for Joey over here in left field. Like,
Joey, what's up, man?
Like,
Welcome to Brett's house.
It didn't work for me. Like, I love Henry Cavill, and I didn't care about him being in the show at all. I was just like, all right, cool.
Have you played the games?
No.
Neither have I. Tyler has. I find that interesting.
Yeah. The game's awesome. The game's great. And Henry Cavill based his performance as Gerald off of the game version of the character.
Yeah.
And he does a really good job. And I think all the actors do really good jobs.
Because of the bard.
Well, even the bard, like, I hated him, but I thought the actor who played him did exactly what he was probably asked to do, and he did it well. Obviously, they wanted to keep putting him in episodes.
I mean,
so they were happy with what he was doing. I think
that was the point of the bard is to be a little bit annoying.
Yeah. I mean, he's a court jester.
Right.
He's supposed to be there. He's supposed to be the guy who's like, I'm gonna tell tales and sing them on my banjo. It's not a banjo, but I don't know what it's called.
His lute.
His lute. There you go. But no, it was boring. There wasn't enough. I feel super casual saying this. There wasn't enough action.
No, yeah.
And when there was, we get unexplained magical things happening. We get like 2 sword fights. We get a dragon, but we don't fight that.
Soldiers kind of come like
they just run into the blade,
like 5 at a time, like in the finale when it's like supposed to be. And I get that it's not their main force, but it's like, we're going to come like 4 or 5 at a time so we can just reuse the same extras over and over again.
Yeah.
Rather than like, it didn't feel like an invasion.
And like Nilfgaard is this big menacing factor, but they're just dudes.
Yeah.
They don't shoot fireballs. They don't do anything. They're just dudes. Just dudes with spears. They can shoot magic out of their hands. Why are they a threat? Convince me I should be scared for these characters.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't care. Geralt gets bit, and I'm like, all right, dude, see you in 10 minutes. Like,
Nope.
Nothing matters. It's bad. It's bad show.
I give it a booyah. I think everybody should watch it.
I'm glad you do. I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey
So
for me.
So we kind of run then from low to it's all right, bad to I don't know. Maybe you can watch it.
It's a
too.
dumpster fire with moments.
Yeah, I always say that moments don't make a movie or a show. So I totally understand.
Make a good YouTube video though.
Absolutely.
Witcher season 2 coming on YouTube Red.
Oh man. Here's the thing.
What do we want? What do we want for season 2?
I just want a coherent story, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, same.
I'm excited for season 2.
I think season 2 will be so much better because there won't be timeline issues, and we'll have once Yennefer is actually back because she's not disappearing. They'll all be together, and they're probably going to be like, "Hey, let's go stop a threat or something."
Man, I could totally see though, like the first half of season 2, them doing kind of a similar thing where it's like Geralt and Ciri.
Let's jump
like,
to here's what
doing
happens
the
at the end of season 2.
But then, it wouldn't even have to be timeline wise. It's just Yennefer's in a different place, and them doing that. And You're right. They need to be together. They can get separated for an episode here or an episode there, but the majority of season 2 needs to be them together going on an adventure. It's a single narrative, and it's strengthened by their performances and how they play off each other.
I'd also say season 2 needs to expand upon the villain.
Yes.
I don't know who the villain is besides Nippleguard or whatever they're called.
Nilfgaard, yeah.
There's the bad mage who led like the initial but then there's like
Yennefer was supposed to have her job or whatever.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't remember her name. But
and then the prince or whatever guy.
Yeah, but then I guess the king is coming with an even bigger army, but I don't.
Give me some compelling villains.
Yeah,
give me villains who can use magic, who can stand toe to toe with a guy who literally can kill beasts, and demons, and anything else thrown his way.
Man, and this is what we were talking about just with writing. I feel like what they're going for, or what they went for, what they probably will continue to go for, is that Nilfgaard is kind of this looming thing. It's not episode to episode they're addressing that threat. That is the overarching threat. And episode to episode they're dealing with the monsters or whatever narrative problem of the week they have to solve. It'll get really interesting in season 2, I think, because that now they have Ciri. It's Ciri? Ciri?
Cirilla is her name.
Cirilla. I'm going to say that because
C-I-R-I.
my iPad keeps thinking I'm talking to it.
Oh, gotcha. Good call.
So Cirilla
Ciri.
is I think they have to figure out what is her destiny. Like we were talking about earlier with one of the concepts that they're throwing out there is you don't try and thwart destiny. What does that mean for her as princess, as a princess with magical abilities?
That we don't really understand yet.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there can be a really cool opportunity for them to go on their adventures, learning about her abilities, those two, with their very diametrically opposite worldviews, training her, I think that could be a cool little narrative. Mm-hmm. And then by the end of season 2, you're back to addressing Nilfgaard has the reinforcements are there.
It kind of reminds me of Dragon Prince season 2.
A little bit.
How season 1 was way better. It's a booyah. But how you have this world, here's a dragon egg, we're going to take it somewhere. But then season 2 was what's the main character's name? I don't remember. But they're let's kind of look into this magic stuff that you got going for you right now. Then in season 3, boom, we're back into Elven land and we're going crazy over here. Big war.
Yep.
There's a comparison.
Here's my thing.
Go watch a Dragon Prince on Netflix. It's incredible.
They're going to bring in Vesemir.
Better than Witcher.
They're going to bring in Vesemir, which is kind of Geralt's mentor.
Mark Hamill? Is that who?
That's who he's kind of lobbying for it. Yeah.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Someone told him he should do it, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And I mean, it'd be Old Man Luke, essentially. But Vesemir he's a Witcher, but he's kind of goofy. He makes jokes. No,
People will hate it.
No, they won't. They'll like him.
Hashtag not my Mark Hamill.
He'll be good. I don't care if it's Mark Hamill or not. But Vesemir will explain things because he trained Gerald. He helped. He was there in the training. Hopefully we'll go to where Witchers are created and trained, because that's a really interesting part of the Witcher story that they just never really entertained.
Yeah.
They were just like, here's Geralt. He's fully blown Witcher. Enjoy. And you're like, that's cool, but like, you don't show us anything. We don't know how he got here, where he got these powers from. We kind of get it alluded to, and they turn us into mutants. But no, like, they need to show you what that process is, because it's very interesting. And I think The Witcher Season 2 needs to dive into that. The biggest thing I think they'll have going for them outside of the characters being together, they'll have feedback.
Yes.
They'll know what worked for people and what didn't work for people. And I think that will help them make a second season.
And this is standard, right? Like, season 2 is greenlit, but they need to not just rush into season 2. They need to take a step back.
2021, I think.
Listen to the feedback, and then go forward. Even if you already have your ideas, then go forward. Say, okay, we need to hire some new / additional writers.
Maybe a new showrunner.
Maybe a new showrunner.
Maybe I think consult the guy who wrote the books.
I think one of the lead writers is someone who's done like all of the games and short stories and stuff like that. So clearly they know the world. I'm not convinced they know writing.
Yeah.
Wow.
What do you got there on the screen?
The Rotten Tomatoes audience score for this is 93%.
Critic is 66.
Yeah.
How?
I mean,
maybe I'm just
most people aren't
senile old man.
This goes into everything that we do, though. Like, when we talk about Star Wars, when we talk about DC, when we talk about Marvels, when we're talking about The Witcher, we are so overly critical of this stuff.
That's true.
Whereas most people are like, I liked it. This is fine, and I'm moving on.
That's a good point.
We overanalyzed the show that honestly probably none of us really care about that much. We really want everything to be good. So when something's not,
the fact that
we lash out.
The fact that when we do our like best of 2019 type of things, like I guarantee in each of our top 5, there's probably 3 movies that like hardly anyone has seen.
Yeah.
We need to wrap this up, guys.
We do.
Any final thoughts?
No. I thought it was fine.
I can't recommend it. Clearly, the audience scores though is pretty high, so I guess it's free on Netflix if you have it. So if you have Netflix, check out the first 3 episodes and see if you're into it.
Yeah.
You'll like episode 3. You'll be like, oh man, this is legit. And then you'll be like, oh no. No, final thoughts. I didn't like it, but I'm excited for season 2.
Yeah.
Let us know what you thought in the comments. That's my final thought.
Awesome. You can find all of our stuff. We do lots of other things other than just these little reviews at whatthefanboy.com. We have a weekly podcast / live show. We do movie commentaries. Our next one I'm super excited for is going to be Fan Four Stick.
Yes.
And go check out Luke's written Witcher review.
Yeah.
See if
my what I wrote lines up to what I said, because honestly it could be completely different.
It's been a while, so you've had more time to digest it.
Yeah.
So
I've had a long time. I've watched it 3 times. No.
Until our next TV talk, thanks for watching or listening. See ya.
Bye everybody.